The Great Exodus. Commander Sarah Chen stood at the observation deck of the ESS Hope, her eyes fixed on the blue marble that had been humanity's cradle for millions of years. Earth's oceans still gleamed in the sunlight, but the swirling purple anomaly approaching from deep space cast an ominous shadow over their home world. They had named it the Void Storm, a massive quantum disturbance that defied the laws of physics and devoured everything in its path. "Final evacuation numbers are in, Commander," reported Lieutenant Marcus Rivera, his tablet displaying columns of data that represented the last census of humanity. "We have 2.3 billion souls distributed across the Exodus fleet. That's everyone we could save." Sarah's jaw tightened. They had spent the last 5 years building the largest fleet in human history, converting every space station, mining facility, and orbital platform into massive colony ships. But it hadn't been enough to save everyone. The remaining 4 billion had chosen to stay behind, either unable or unwilling to leave their home. "Status of the quantum drives?" she asked, pushing aside the weight of those left behind. The living needed her now. "All ships report ready. The calculations for the dimensional slip have been triple-checked. We'll emerge in the Andromeda Galaxy in approximately 200 years, accounting for time dilation." The Void Storm had given humanity one gift: the understanding of quantum physics necessary to achieve faster-than-light travel. The knowledge had come at a terrible price, extracted from the ruins of research stations consumed by the anomaly's edge. But it had given them a chance at survival. "Signal from Earth Command," Commander called out Communications Officer Zhang. "President Rodriguez is ready to address the fleet." The holographic display flickered to life, showing the tired but determined face of Earth's last president. "People of Earth," she began, her voice carrying to every ship in the fleet, "today we embark on humanity's greatest journey. We leave behind our cradle, but we carry with us something far more precious: the indomitable spirit of our species." Sarah watched as crew members wiped away tears. The president continued, "To those staying behind, your sacrifice will never be forgotten. To those making the journey, carry with you the best of what humanity represents: our creativity, our resilience, our determination to survive against all odds." The Void Storm's edge was now visible to the naked eye, a writhing wall of purple energy that consumed light itself. They had delayed as long as possible, but they could wait no longer. "Commander Chen," the president's voice became personal, "the authority of Earth's united governments now passes to you and the Exodus Council. Lead them well. Lead them home." Sarah straightened, feeling the weight of history on her shoulders. "Thank you, Madam President. We will not fail." The transmission ended, leaving only static. Sarah took a deep breath and opened the fleet-wide channel. "This is Commander Chen. All ships, initiate quantum drive sequence. Navigation, transmit final coordinates." Throughout the fleet, massive engines hummed to life. The quantum drives, humanity's last great invention on Earth, began their carefully choreographed sequence. They would tear holes in space-time, allowing the ships to slip between dimensions and emerge in another galaxy. "Quantum field stability at 100%, reported Science Officer Dr. Puddle. "Dimensional barriers thinning. We're ready, Commander." Sarah took one last look at Earth, committing every detail to memory. The continents she had memorized as a child, the swirling cloud patterns, the Terminator line between day and night. Even the approaching Void Storm had its own terrible beauty. "All ships, on my mark," she commanded, her voice steady despite the emotion threatening to break through. 3, 2, 1. Initiate jump. Reality itself seemed to bend as the quantum drives engaged. Space folded around the fleet like origami in the hands of a master, creating tunnels through dimensions humans had only theorized about until now. The last thing Sarah saw before the jump completed was the Void Storm reaching Earth, its purple tendrils beginning to wrap around their homeworld. Then everything went white. When her vision cleared, Earth's sun was gone, replaced by the distant smear of the Milky Way. Ahead lay nothing but unknown stars and the promise of a future. The quantum drives powered down, leaving the fleet floating in the void between galaxies. All ships reporting successful jump. Marcus announced, relief evident in his voice. Cryogenic systems engaging. We're on course for Andromeda. Sarah nodded, watching as the crew prepared for their long sleep. They had done it. They had saved what they could of humanity and given their species a chance to survive. But as the cryogenic systems began their startup sequence, she couldn't help but wonder what kind of galaxy they would wake up to, and if humanity would find its place among the stars. As the cold of cryosleep began to take her, Sarah whispered a promise to those left behind. We'll return. No matter how long it takes, we'll find a way back home. The lights dimmed across the fleet as billions entered their long sleep, carrying with them the hopes, dreams, and genetic legacy of Earth. Humanity's greatest journey had begun, and the universe would never be the same. Among strange stars, the awakening came gradually, consciousness returning like waves lapping at a shore. Commander Sarah Chen's eyes fluttered open to the soft blue light of the revival chamber. 200 years had passed in what felt like moments to her frozen mind. Vital signs stable, announced the medical eye. Cognitive functions normal. Welcome back, Commander. Sarah's muscles protested as she sat up, her body adjusting to movement after centuries of stillness. Through the chamber's window, she could see medical teams attending to other awakening crew members. The revival process had begun. Status report, she managed, her voice rough from disuse. Fleet integrity at 98.9%, responded the ship's eye. We lost contact with 12 ships during transit. Current location is approximately 300 light-years from the Andromeda galaxy's outer rim. However, Commander, there's something you need to see. The observation deck's screens flickered to life, showing a sight that made Sarah's breath catch. Massive structures floated in the void around them, gleaming installations that could only be artificial in origin. They weren't alone in this part of space. First contact protocols are already being violated, reported Lieutenant Rivera, who had just arrived on the bridge. We're picking up transmissions from at least 3 different species. They've noticed us. Before Sarah could respond, a new signal cut through their communications. The universal translators worked overtime, converting alien language patterns into something comprehensible. Unidentified fleet, you have entered restricted space. Identify yourselves or face immediate defensive action. The voice was artificially smooth, suggesting an advanced translation system on the other end. Sarah straightened her uniform and activated the external communications array. This is Commander Sarah Chen of the Earth Exodus Fleet. We are refugees seeking habitable worlds. We come in peace. There was a long pause before the response came. Earth, unknown origin point. Refugee status, problematic. Stand by for inspection. Any hostile action will be met with overwhelming force. Through the viewport, Sarah watched as sleek vessels emerged from the nearby installations. They moved with an impossible grace, suggesting propulsion technology far beyond humanity's understanding. Multiple ships approaching, reported Tactical Officer Carrie Pottle. Energy readings are off the charts. Their weapons could vaporize us before our shields even registered the attack. Sarah kept her voice calm despite the tension. Stand down, weapons. All ships maintain current positions. Let's not start humanity's new chapter with a fight we can't win. The alien vessels surrounded the fleet, their scanning beams cutting through shields as if they weren't there. Sarah could feel the fear and anticipation rippling through her crew. Everything they had prepared for was being rewritten by the reality of advanced alien civilizations. Scans complete, the alien voice returned. Biological profile logged. Population count. Concerning. Strategic threat assessment. Significant. The Council must be informed. We seek only survival, Sarah responded. Our world was lost to a quantum anomaly. We're looking for a new home, nothing more. Another pause, longer this time. Your situation is unprecedented. The Galactic Council has protocols for refugee species, but none accounting for such numbers. Stand by for diplomatic contact. Hours passed as more alien ships arrived. Sarah used the time to coordinate with the other fleet captains and begin the careful process of reviving their billions of passengers. The medical AIs worked tirelessly, bringing humanity back to consciousness in carefully managed waves. Finally, a new voice joined the communication channel. This one carried authority that transcended the artificial translation. I am High Commissioner Zixtal of the Galactic Council. Your arrival presents us with an unusual situation. Never has a species arrived in such numbers, with such advanced quantum technology, yet claiming refugee status. Sarah chose her words carefully. We developed our quantum drives out of desperate necessity. Our only goal is finding a new home for our people. A noble goal, Zixtal responded, but one that carries significant complications. The habitable worlds in this sector are already claimed or protected. However, there may be an opportunity of mutual benefit. We're listening, Sarah said, sensing a pivot point in humanity's future. The Outer Rim worlds are contested space. Pirates, outcasts, and rebel factions make colonization difficult for civilized species. Your people are numerous, technologically capable, and motivated. We propose a deal. Help us secure the Outer Rim, and in return, you may claim suitable worlds for colonization. Sarah looked at her officers, seeing the same mix of hope and wariness she felt. You're suggesting we become a buffer state. I am suggesting a mutually beneficial arrangement. You need homes. We need stability. The choice, Commander Chen, is yours. Sarah thought of the billions of lives depending on her decision. They needed planets to call their own, but more than that, they needed a future. We accept with conditions. We maintain autonomy over our internal affairs, and we require technical assistance for rapid colonization. Acceptable, Zixtal replied. Welcome to Galactic Society, humans of Earth. May your species prove as adaptable as our preliminary assessments suggest. You will need to be. As the communication ended, Sarah turned to her crew. Send word through the fleet. Wake up our engineers, scientists, and colonial administration first. We have work to do. Lieutenant Rivera managed to smile. Not exactly the empty galaxy we planned for. No, Sarah agreed, watching the alien ships maneuver around their fleet. But maybe that's for the better. Humanity didn't just survive the journey. We've arrived at exactly the right moment. The galaxy needs us, even if it doesn't know it yet. Outside the viewport, the strange stars of Andromeda twinkled with new promise. Humanity's next chapter was beginning, and if Sarah's instincts were right, it would be even more remarkable than their last. The Rising Storm. 5 years into humanity's colonization of the Outer Rim, the signs of trouble were impossible to ignore. Sarah Chen, now governor of the Human Confederation's primary colony world Nova Terra, stood before a holographic display showing the latest territorial disputes. They're testing our borders again, reported Admiral Rivera, his hologram flickering slightly across the vast distance between our colonies. The Vex Theory merchants are actually military scouts. They're probing our defenses, trying to find weaknesses. Sarah studied the map, noting the patterns of incursion. The Vex Theory, one of the Galactic Council's dominant species, had initially supported humanity's settlement of the Outer Rim. But that was before humans had accomplished in 5 years what other species took centuries to achieve. Show me the latest development figures, she requested. The display shifted, revealing statistics that told a remarkable story. Human colonies now dotted 27 worlds across the rim. Their population had grown to 2.8 billion, their adaptation to alien environments accelerated by genetic engineering techniques developed during their long journey. But it was their technological advancement that truly worried the galactic powers. Humanity had taken the technical assistance offered by the Council and revolutionized it, combining it with their quantum drive technology in ways that made their benefactors increasingly nervous. The council has called an emergency session, Sarah announced to her advisors. They're concerned about our latest breakthrough. Dr. Elena Santos, head of the Human Science Division, stepped forward. The quantum neural network. We've done nothing wrong. They gave us access to their communications technology. We simply improved it. Improved it. Admiral Rivera laughed. Elena, we've created a system that can process and transmit data instantly across thousands of light years. We've made their subspace communications obsolete overnight. Sarah raised her hand for silence as a priority alert flashed across her display. The Vex Theory are making their move. They're proposing new security protocols for the Outer Rim. If passed, these would give them authority to establish military bases throughout our territory. They want to contain us, Dr. Santos said quietly. They're afraid of how quickly we're advancing. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity had survived the loss of Earth and a 200-year journey through space, only to face a new threat to their existence. Options? Sarah asked, looking at her advisors. Admiral Rivera spoke first. Militarily, we're outnumbered and outgunned, but our ships are faster, more maneuverable. Our quantum technology gives us advantages they don't expect. Diplomatically, added Ambassador Chen Lai, we have allies among the younger races. They see our rise as inspiration. The Arxer and Kilari have already expressed support for our independence. Dr. Santos activated her own display. There's another factor. Our research into the quantum realm hasn't just given us better communications and drives. We're beginning to understand the very nature of the void storm that drove us from Earth. That knowledge, it changes everything. Sarah studied the classified data scrolling across her screen. You think you can replicate it? Control it? Not exactly, Elena replied. But we understand it now. The void storm wasn't just a natural phenomenon. It was created, and whoever made it had technology far beyond anything the council races possess. The implications were staggering. Sarah turned to the window, looking out at Novaterra's twin moons. So we have a choice. Submit to Vex Theory control and lose our independence, or risk open conflict while we pursue this new discovery. The council session begins in 6 hours, Ambassador Lai reminded them. We need a decision. Sarah squared her shoulders, remembering the promise she made 2 centuries ago as Earth vanished behind them. Prepare our diplomatic response. We'll attend their session, but we're not going to submit. Humanity didn't cross 2 million light years to become anyone's vassals. And if they don't accept that, Rivera asked, then we show them why trying to cage humanity is a mistake. Sarah activated the secure fleet-wide communication channel. All colonies, initiate Protocol Prometheus. If the Vex Theory want to see what humans are capable of, we'll give them a demonstration they won't forget. Throughout human space, hidden quantum transmitters activated. Ships that had been waiting in dimensional pocket space emerged. And in secret laboratories across 27 worlds, projects that had been carefully concealed from council observers went into full production. They think they know what we're capable of, Sarah said to her advisors. They've seen our colonies, our ships, our technology, but they haven't seen our greatest strength yet. And what's that? Ambassador Lai asked. Sarah smiled grimly. When humans are backed into a corner, we don't just fight back. We change the rules of the game entirely. Send word to all colonies. Operation Lazarus is now active. It's time to show the galaxy why humanity survived when our world was lost. As her orders spread across human space, Sarah thought about the billions of lives depending on her decisions. They had fled one apocalypse only to face another. But this time, humanity wasn't running. This time, they were ready to stand their ground and show the galaxy exactly what they were capable of. The storm was rising, and at its heart, humanity was about to prove once again why they had survived when everything was against them. Breaking point. The Vex Theory strike came at dawn, their warships emerging from quantum space in perfect attack formation. But the human colonies weren't there to greet them. Where 27 thriving worlds should have been, the Vex Theory fleet found only empty space and quiet stars. High Commander Zextal of the Vex Theory Expeditionary Force stared at the sensor readings in disbelief. Impossible. An entire civilization doesn't just vanish. Find them. But Sarah Chen and humanity were already executing the next phase of Operation Lazarus. Deep within artificial pocket dimensions created by their advanced quantum drive technology, the entire human civilization had slipped between the cracks of reality itself. All colonies report successful transition, Admiral Rivera announced from the bridge of the HMS Prometheus. The quantum fold is stable. We can maintain this state indefinitely. Sarah nodded, watching through specialized sensors as the Vex Theory fleet scattered across their former territory, searching in vain. Begin Phase 2. Let's show them why humanity's survival instinct makes us so dangerous. Across the outer rim, hidden quantum transmitters activated in sequence. The devices, planted years ago in preparation for this moment, began to emit specific frequencies that interfered with the Vex Theory ship's navigation systems. The alien fleet's perfect formation began to crumble. They're realizing it's a trap, Dr. Santos reported, monitoring the quantum interference patterns. But they can't leave. The quantum field is disrupting their drive systems. Sarah opened a channel to all human ships. This is Governor Chen. Operation Lazarus Phase 3 is authorized. Remember your training. Today we prove that humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology. It's our ability to unite and overcome impossible odds. The human fleet emerged from quantum space, but not as the Vex Theory expected. Instead of appearing in traditional battle formation, human ships phased into reality at seemingly random points throughout the enemy fleet. The quantum drive technology that had saved them from Earth's destruction had been perfected into a weapon of unprecedented precision. By the first ones, a Vex Theory commander transmitted, his message intercepted by human intelligence systems. Their ships are appearing inside our formation shields. They've weaponized quantum tunneling itself. The battle that followed would be remembered for centuries in galactic history. Human vessels, smaller but infinitely more maneuverable, danced between the massive Vex Theory warships. Each human ship could phase in and out of normal space at will, making traditional targeting systems useless. They're trying to adapt, Admiral Rivera reported, switching to contingency protocols. But the Vex Theory couldn't adapt quickly enough. Humanity had spent 5 years preparing for this moment, developing technologies and tactics that defied conventional warfare. The quantum neural network allowed human ships to coordinate with perfect precision, their movements choreographed across dimensional barriers. Message from the Galactic Council, Ambassador Lai announced. They're demanding we cease hostilities immediately. Sarah watched as another Vex Theory battlecruiser found itself disabled by precisely targeted quantum interference. Send them the evidence package. Show them exactly why we were forced to take these actions. The package contained proof of Vex Theory plans to subjugate human colonies, along with detailed records of their violations of Council law. But more importantly, it contained something else. The truth about the void storm that had driven humanity from Earth. The Council is responding, Lai reported, surprise evident in his voice. They're ordering the Vex Theory to stand down. Multiple Council species are dispatching observers. Sarah allowed herself a small smile. The Vex Theory didn't just underestimate our technology. They underestimated our intelligence networks. We knew they were behind the void storm all along. An experiment in quantum weapons that got out of control. They thought forcing us from Earth would keep their secrets safe. And now the truth is out, Rivera said, watching as the Vex Theory fleet began powering down weapons, along with proof of everything else they've been hiding from the Council. Sarah opened a channel to the Vex Theory command ship. High Commander Zextal, your fleet is disabled, your secrets are exposed, and the Council has withdrawn their support. I suggest you consider your next actions very carefully. The response came after a long pause. The Vex Theory Empire requests terms for cessation of hostilities. Terms are simple, Sarah replied. Full withdrawal from human space, reparations for Earth, and complete disclosure to the Council about your quantum weapons program. In return, we share our quantum drive innovations with all Council races, creating balance in the galaxy. As the Vex Theory fleet began its withdrawal, Sarah turned to her advisors. Humanity just proved we can defend ourselves against any threat. But our real victory isn't military. It's proving we can outsmart those who tried to destroy us. Dr. Santos approached with new data on her tablet. Governor, the quantum readings we gathered during the battle, they confirm our theories. We can use this technology to do more than just fight. We might be able to go home. Sarah looked at the streams of data, hope rising in her chest. The same quantum technology that had saved them, that had just won them their freedom, might finally give them a way to reclaim Earth. Send word to all colonies, she ordered. Operation Lazarus was just the beginning. Project Phoenix is now active. It's time for humanity to take back what was stolen from us. The stars seemed to shine brighter as humanity emerged from their quantum refuge. No longer refugees, but a power that had earned its place in the galaxy. The breaking point had come and gone, and humanity had emerged stronger than ever. The journey home. 250 years after humanity fled Earth, the combined fleet of human and allied ships dropped out of quantum space at the edge of the Milky Way. Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the HSS Phoenix, her eyes fixed on the holographic display showing their home galaxy. Quantum sensors detecting residual void storm energy, Dr. Santos reported, her fingers dancing across the advanced interface. The signature matches our predictions. Earth is still there, just displaced. The truth about the void storm had led to this moment. It hadn't destroyed Earth. It had shifted the planet into a pocket dimension, a quantum prison created by Vex Theory weapons technology. Now, armed with understanding gained from both their own advances and Vex Theory reparation data, humanity had returned to set things right. All ships report ready, Admiral Rivera announced. The quantum neural network is operating at peak efficiency. The Arxer and Kilari support fleets are in position. Sarah nodded, feeling the weight of history on her shoulders. Begin the sequence. Project Phoenix is go. Throughout the fleet, newly developed quantum resonators powered up. The technology represented everything humanity had learned in their time among the stars, a perfect fusion of their own innovation with knowledge gained from their allies and enemies alike. Establishing quantum field, Dr. Santos called out. Beginning dimensional scan. There. I'm detecting a pocket universe exactly where Earth should be. The void storm didn't destroy our world. It's been preserved in quantum stasis all this time. Sarah opened a channel to the fleet. This is Governor Chen. For 2.5 centuries, we've carried the dream of Earth with us across the stars. We've built new homes, forged alliances, and proven ourselves among the galaxies. But we never forgot where we came from. Today, we bring Earth back. The quantum resonators reached full power, their energy synchronized across thousands of ships. The space before them began to ripple as reality itself responded to their technology. Dimensional barrier weakening, Santos reported. The pocket universe is becoming visible to normal space. My God, it's beautiful. Through the quantum distortion appeared a familiar blue marble, preserved exactly as it had been the day humanity fled. The void storm still swirled around it, but now they could see it for what it really was, a quantum cage meant to trap Earth for eternity. Deploy the quantum disruptors, Sarah ordered. Begin the extraction sequence. Ships moved into position, forming a perfect geometric pattern around Earth's pocket dimension. The technology they were about to use had never been attempted on this scale, but humanity had never been one to let impossible odds stop them. Disruptors active, Rivera reported. Beginning synchronized pulse in 3, 2, 1. Energy beams connected the ships, forming a lattice of pure quantum potential around Earth's prison. The void storm responded. its purple tendrils lashing out against the interference. The storm is fighting back, Santos warned. It's trying to maintain dimensional integrity. Increase power to the quantum field, Sarah commanded. We didn't come this far to fail now. All ships, channel everything you have into the disruptors. The battle between human technology and the void storm lit up space itself. Reality buckled and warped as two quantum forces fought for dominance. In the center of it all, Earth waited, unchanged by the centuries that had passed. Quantum field reaching critical resonance, Santos announced. The pocket dimension is collapsing. Wait, yes. Earth is phasing back into normal space. Through the viewport, Sarah watched as their home world emerged from its quantum prison. The void storm, its containment field disrupted by human technology, began to dissipate into harmless quantum particles. Send the probe, she ordered. Let's see what 250 years in stasis has done to our home. The data came back quickly. Earth was exactly as they had left it. Its atmosphere, its oceans, even its cities preserved in the moment the void storm had taken it. And incredibly, there were signs of life. We're detecting survivors, Santos said, her voice filled with wonder. The quantum stasis preserved everything, including the people who stayed behind. To them, no time has passed at all. Sarah felt tears in her eyes as she opened a channel to Earth's surface. This is Governor Sarah Chen of the Human Confederation to any Earth forces receiving. We've come home. The response came after a moment's delay. This is Earth Command. We're reading thousands of ships in orbit. The void storm, it's gone. How long? 250 years, Sarah replied. We found a way back. Earth is free, and humanity is ready to share everything we've learned among the stars. Cheers erupted across the bridge as the first shuttles began their descent to Earth's surface. Humanity had not only survived, they had returned stronger, wiser, and ready to unite their preserved past with their stellar future. Send word to the colonies, Sarah ordered. Earth is restored. And let our allies know. Humanity's story is no longer about exodus or survival. It's about bringing together the best of both worlds we know. As the sun rose over Earth for the first time in centuries, ships from across 2 galaxies descended through its atmosphere. Humanity had learned the greatest lesson any species could learn, that true strength comes not from technology or numbers, but from the unwavering determination to overcome any obstacle, to innovate beyond all expectations, and to never ever give up on finding a way home. The journey that had begun in desperation had ended in triumph. Humanity hadn't just survived, they had transformed the very galaxy that had once threatened to destroy them. And now, with Earth restored, and their civilization spanning 2 galaxies, they were ready to write the next chapter in their remarkable story. In the end, humanity had proven something extraordinary, that their greatest strength wasn't their technology, their adaptability, or even their unity. It was their absolute refusal to accept defeat, their drive to turn setbacks into opportunities, and their ability to emerge from every challenge stronger than before. Earth was back, and humanity was unstoppable.
The massacre and the message, the screams from Haven Prime, had barely faded when the Vorthok Empire sent their message to Earth. Emperor Korthax appeared on every human communication channel, his 6 arms spread wide in a gesture of dominance. His scaled face bore the cruel smile that had terrorized dozens of worlds across the galaxy. Pathetic humans, his voice rumbled through the quantum channels. Your colonies burned beautifully. Haven Prime, New Geneva, Terra Nova, 12 million of your kind turned to ash in a single day. This is what happens when inferior species dare to expand into Vorthok space. The transmission showed footage from the attacks. Massive Vorthok dreadnoughts, raining plasma death on civilian settlements, children running through burning streets, evacuation ships exploding before they could escape orbit. The methodical, systematic extermination of entire populations. Admiral Sarah Mitchell stood in Earth's Defense Command, watching the carnage with tears streaming down her face. Around her, officers struggled to maintain composure as they witnessed the slaughter of their people. 12 million souls gone. Your species will serve as slaves, Corthax continued, or you will share the fate of your colonies. You have 7 standard days to surrender your pathetic worlds. Any resistance will be met with complete annihilation. The transmission ended, leaving the command center in stunned silence. Admiral Mitchell wiped her eyes and turned to her staff. Options. General Harrison stepped forward. Ma'am, we have 300 ships ready for deployment. It's not enough. Intelligence reports show the Vorthok have over 800 vessels in their main fleet alone. Conventional warfare won't work, agreed Captain Torres. They outgun us, outman us, and they've proven they have no qualms about targeting civilians. Admiral Mitchell nodded grimly. Then a voice spoke from the back of the room. Perhaps it's time for an unconventional approach. Everyone turned to see Captain Elena Vasquez walking into the command center. Her uniform was different from standard Navy issue, where others wore blue and gold. Hers was deep black with silver trim. Her ship's patch showed not a weapon or star, but a simple human eye surrounded by flowing streams of light. Captain Vasquez, Admiral Mitchell acknowledged, I wasn't expecting you. The memory keeper is ready, Admiral, Elena said quietly. Dr. Chen's team completed the final modifications yesterday. We've been waiting for a situation exactly like this. General Harrison frowned. The memory keeper, I've heard whispers about. Some experimental, psychological warfare project. But it's more than warfare, Elena interrupted. It's justice, it's consequences, and it's exactly what the Vorthok need to understand. Admiral Mitchell studied Elena's face. The captain was young, barely 30, but her eyes held an ancient weariness. Elena had been one of the few survivors of the Proxima Beta massacre 5 years earlier. She'd watched her family die while hiding in a crashed transport. That experience had changed her, driven her to volunteer for Dr. Chen's experimental program. Explain, the Admiral commanded. Elena activated a holographic display showing a sleek, unusual vessel. The memory keeper looked nothing like a traditional warship. Instead of bristling with weapons, its hull was smooth and organic-looking, covered in hexagonal panels that pulsed with soft blue light. Dr. Marcus Chen spent 10 years developing psychological resonance technology. Elena began. The theory is simple. Human consciousness leaves traces, echoes that can be captured and preserved. Every thought, every emotion, every final moment can be recorded and transmitted. Captain Torres leaned forward. You're talking about memories. I'm talking about weaponizing truth, Elena corrected. The Vorthok see us as weak because we value life, because we mourn our dead, because we try to avoid unnecessary conflict. They think compassion makes us inferior. But what if we could make them experience what we experience? What if we could make them feel what it's like to die as a human child, calling for parents who are already dead? The room fell silent. Admiral Mitchell studied the ship design, noting the strange arrays of neural transmitters where weapons platforms should be. How does it work? Elena's expression grew somber. The memory keeper contains the preserved final moments of every human killed in the Proxima Beta massacre. Their fear, their pain, their last thoughts. Dr. Chen and I have spent 5 years refining the technology to project these experiences directly into alien neural networks. You want to make the Vorthok experience human deaths, General Harrison said slowly. I want to make them understand consequences, Elena replied. They killed 12 million people without a second thought because they couldn't comprehend the weight of those lives. But what if they could? What if every Vorthok soldier suddenly knew what it felt like to be a human mother shielding her children? What if their emperor experienced the terror of a father watching his family burn? Admiral Mitchell was quiet for a long moment. Finally, she spoke. 1 ship against 800. Even with your technology, how do you plan to get close enough? Elena smiled grimly. The same way humans have always won impossible battles, Admiral. We let them underestimate us. 3 days later, the UES memory keeper dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Arcturus system. Immediately, Vorthok sensors detected the lone human vessel. On the bridge of the massive dreadnought Worldbreaker, Emperor Korthax laughed. With genuine amusement. 1 ship, he rumbled to his bridge crew. The humans send 1 pathetic vessel to answer our fleet of 800. This insults even their own reputation for stupidity. General Vex, his military commander, studied the sensor readings. My lord, the vessel's configuration is unusual. Our scans show minimal weapons systems, but strange energy signatures throughout the hull. Irrelevant, Korthax waved dismissively. Ordered the fleet to surround it. I want this human commander brought before me alive so I can explain personally how we will torture his species to extinction. As the Vorthok fleet moved into position, Captain Elena Vasquez sat calmly in the memory keeper's command chair. Her bridge was unlike any other in the human navy. Instead of weapons consoles, her officers operated banks of neural transmission equipment. Holographic displays showed not target locks and firing solutions, but the preserved memories of thousands of human lives. Captain, her communications officer announced, the Vorthok are hailing us. Put them through. Emperor Korthax's scaled face filled the main screen. Human Captain, I am Emperor Korthax of the Vorthak Empire. You will surrender immediately or be destroyed. Elena looked directly into the alien's 6 eyes. I am Captain Elena Vasquez of the UES Memory Keeper. I'm here to discuss the 12 million humans you murdered. Korthax's laugh was like grinding metal. Murdered. We exterminated vermin. Your species spreads like a plague across the galaxy, claiming worlds that belong to the strong. We simply restored the natural order. 12 million individuals, Elena said calmly, each with families, dreams, hopes. Children who wanted to grow up, parents who wanted to see them succeed, people who had never harmed anyone. Sentiment, Korthax spat. This is why your species is weak. You attach meaning to meaningless lives. Elena's expression never changed. Dr. Chen, she said quietly to her science officer, begin the resonance cascade. Target the Emperor's personal neural network first. What are you doing? Korthax demanded. Teaching you the meaning of consequences, Elena replied. The memory keeper's hull began to pulse with brighter light. Across the Vorthok fleet, soldiers suddenly felt strange sensations in their minds. It started as a whisper, barely noticeable. Then it grew stronger. Emperor Korthax was the first to experience it fully. One moment he was laughing at the pathetic human ship. The next, he was a 7-year-old human girl named Lisa Chen, hiding under a collapsed building on Haven Prime. He felt her terror as plasma fire lit up the night sky. He experienced her desperate hope that her parents would find her. Then he felt her confusion and pain as debris crushed her small body. The Emperor staggered backward, clutching his head. What was that? That was Lisa Chen, Elena said. softly, age 7. She wanted to be a teacher when she grew up. She collected stuffed animals and loved strawberry ice cream. She died calling for her mother. Before Corthax could respond, another memory hit him. This time he was Marcus Thompson, an engineer on New Geneva. He felt Marcus's desperate love for his pregnant wife Sarah as he tried to reach her during the attack. He experienced Marcus's final thought as he died in an explosion, wondering if his unborn child would survive. Across the Vorthok fleet, similar scenes were playing out. Soldiers who had never questioned orders suddenly experienced the deaths of their victims. They felt the fear of human children, the grief of parents losing their families, the desperate hope of people who just wanted to live. "Stop this," Corthax screamed, but his voice cracked as another memory overwhelmed him. An elderly human named Robert Kim saying goodbye to his granddaughter over video call just before the attack. The old man's love, his pride in his family, his quiet dignity as he faced death. "We can't stop it," Alina replied. "This is what you created. These are the consequences of your actions. Every life you ended, every family you destroyed, every dream you crushed, you're going to experience all of it." General Vex collapsed on the bridge, overwhelmed by the memories of Maria Santos, a nurse who had died trying to save wounded civilians. Commander Zek wept uncontrollably as he experienced the final moments of David Park, a father who had died, shielding his children from falling debris. "How many?" Corthax gasped between memory assaults. 12 million, Elena answered. "Every single one. Their names, their faces, their final moments. The memory keeper preserved them all." Asterisk, the reckoning and consequences. The psychological assault continued for hours. The massive Vorthok fleet, moments before the most feared military force in the galaxy, was now paralyzed by an enemy they had never encountered. Empathy on the bridge. Of the memory keeper, Captain Alina Vasquez monitored the neural resonance readings. Each Vorthok soldier was experiencing approximately one human death every 30 seconds. The psychological impact was overwhelming their aggressive conditioning. "Captain," reported Dr. Chen from his console, "we're seeing massive neural restructuring across their fleet. The empathy centers of their brains are activating for the first time. It's literally rewiring how they process violence and suffering." Alina nodded grimly. This was the goal, but seeing it happen in real time was both satisfying and terrifying. They were fundamentally changing an entire species' capacity for compassion. Emperor Corthax had fallen to his knees on his bridge. The memories kept coming. Alina Rodriguez, a teacher who had died protecting her students. James Mitchell, a farmer who had never left his homeworld. Susan Wright, a doctor who had volunteered in the refugee camps. Each death hit the Emperor like a physical blow. "Please," he whispered, "make it stop." Elena's voice came through the communications channel, no longer calm but filled with cold fury. "Did Lisa Chen's please make you stop? Did Marcus Thompson's screams save his family? Did any of the 12 million voices begging for mercy reach your ears?" Through the neural link, Corthax experienced the memory of Sarah Thompson, Marcus's pregnant wife, dying in the medical facility bombing. He felt her love for her unborn child, her hope that somehow her baby might survive. Then came the crushing realization that both mother and child were lost forever. "We didn't know," Corthax gasped. "We didn't understand they were like us." "You didn't want to understand," Alina corrected. "Understanding would have made conquest harder. It's easier to kill when you don't see your victims as real people." Across the Vorthok fleet, something unprecedented was happening. Soldiers were laying down their weapons, not in surrender, but in horror at what they had done. Commander Zek, still reeling from experiencing human deaths, opened a channel to his crew. "All hands," he said, his voice breaking. "Power down weapons, systems. We cannot continue this." Similar scenes played out on dozens of ships. General Vex, overwhelmed by the memories of human families torn apart, issued fleet-wide orders to cease all hostile actions. "My lord," he said to Emperor Corthax, "we must end this madness. The humans... They're not what we thought. They're not weak, they're just different. They value individual lives in ways we never comprehended." Emperor Corthax was experiencing the memory of Robert Kim's final video call with his granddaughter. The old man's gentle voice, full of love and wisdom, as he comforted the crying child across the void of space. "Grandpa has to go now, sweetheart. But remember what I taught you. Be kind to others. Help those who need it. Make the galaxy a better place." The Emperor wept. For the first time in his long life, Corthax truly understood what they had destroyed. Not just bodies, but souls. Not just individuals, but entire futures full of love, creativity, and hope. "Human captain," he said finally, "we surrender. Please, no more. We cannot bear this burden." Alina studied the broken alien leader. "Surrender isn't enough. You need to understand that this isn't a burden you can set down. These memories, these experiences, they're part of you now." Dr. Chen activated another system. "Captain, the memory integration protocol is ready. Proceed." Across the Vorthok fleet, a new wave of neural energy pulsed from the memory keeper. But this wasn't another memory assault. This was permanent integration. Every Vorthok who had participated in the massacre now carried the complete death experiences of their victims as permanent memories. "What have you done?" Corthax whispered. "We've given you consequences," Alina replied. "Every Vorthok warrior who took part in the colony attacks now carries the memories of those they killed. You'll dream their dreams. You'll wake up remembering their faces. When you see your own children, you'll think of the human children who died, afraid and alone." General Vex stared at his hands in horror. He could remember being every human soldier he had personally killed. Their training, their families, their reasons for fighting. "This is torture. This is understanding," Alina corrected. "For too long, your species has conquered without consequence. You killed and moved on, never thinking about the lives you ended. Now you'll carry those lives with you always." Commander Zek spoke up from his ship. How do we live with this?" Elena's expression softened slightly. "The same way humans do. We carry our grief, our guilt, our memories of loss, but we use them to become better. Every human death you now remember can teach you something about the value of life." Emperor Corthax slowly stood, his entire worldview fundamentally altered. He could feel the presence of 12 million human memories in his mind, not as foreign invaders, but as part of his own consciousness now. "Our empire," he said slowly, "our entire culture is built on conquest and domination. How can we continue knowing what we know now?" "You can't," Alina said simply. "Your old empire is dead. The question is what you'll build to replace it." Dr. Chen leaned forward. "The neural integration isn't just punishment, Emperor, it's opportunity. You now have access to 12 million human perspectives. Their creativity, their problem-solving abilities, their capacity for cooperation and innovation. You could use this knowledge to transform your entire civilization." Over the following days, the transformation of the Vorthok Empire accelerated. Beyond anyone's expectations, soldiers who had once glorified battle now worked to help war refugees. Commanders who had planned planetary bombardments started organizing relief efforts. Emperor Korthax established the Memorial Directive, requiring every Vorthok settlement to build monuments honoring the human victims. But more than that, they began studying human achievements, art, music, literature, science. They discovered that the species they had dismissed as weak had created wonders that surpassed anything in Vorthok culture. "We spent millennia perfecting ways to destroy," said in a broadcast to his people. "The humans spent their time perfecting ways to create, to heal, to inspire. We have been the inferior species all along." On Earth, Admiral Mitchell watched the reports coming in from Vorthok space with amazement. They're actually keeping their word, rebuilding the colonies they destroyed, providing resources and technology to help the survivors. Captain Alina Vasquez stood beside her, looking older than her years. The Memory Keeper's mission had been a success, but it had taken its toll on her as well. She had felt every memory, transmission, experienced every moment of human suffering right alongside the voice. "Do you think it will last?" the Admiral asked. Alina considered the question. "The memory integration is permanent. They can't forget what they've learned. And from what Dr. Chen tells me, the neural changes are already being passed to their offspring. The next generation of Vorthok will be born with an innate understanding of empathy. You've changed an entire species. We've taught them consequences," Alina corrected. "The rest is up to them." A communication came through from Emperor Korthax himself. His image appeared on screen, but he looked different now. The cruel arrogance was gone, replaced by something resembling wisdom. "Captain Vasquez," he said formally, "I speak for my entire people when I offer our deepest apologies for our actions. We cannot undo the deaths we caused, but we pledge to spend our existence ensuring such tragedies never occur again." "Words are easy," Alina replied. "Actions matter." "Then judge us by our actions," Korthax said. "We are dismantling our military conquest division. Our warships are being converted to medical and rescue vessels. Our warrior training programs are being replaced with diplomatic and humanitarian academies." Alina studied his face, seeing the genuine remorse there. More than that, she could see the weight of 12 million human memories reflected in his eyes. "There's something else," the Emperor continued. "We've been studying the human concept of memorial gardens. We want to create a living monument to those we killed. Not just statues, but actual places where life can flourish. We're terraforming 3 dead worlds in our space and naming them after your lost colonies. Haven Prime Memorial, New Geneva Memorial, and Terra Nova Memorial." Admiral Mitchell stepped forward. "That's generous." "It's necessary," Korthax replied. "We need constant reminders of what our arrogance cost. But more than that, we want to create something beautiful from our shame. The humans we killed wanted to see life spread across the galaxy. Now they will, in a way." Captain Alina Vasquez felt something she hadn't experienced since the Memory Keeper's mission began: hope. "There's one more thing," she said to the Emperor. "The Memory Keeper preserved more than just death experiences. We also captured moments of human joy, creativity, love, and wonder. If your people are truly committed to change, perhaps they're ready to experience the full spectrum of human consciousness." Emperor Korthax bowed his head. "We would be honored to learn." As the transmission ended, Alina turned to Admiral Mitchell. The Memory Keeper's mission is complete, but I think its real work is just beginning. 6 months later, reports from Vorthok space described a civilization in the midst of unprecedented transformation. Former warriors had become poets, writing verses inspired by human literary traditions. Scientists who had once designed weapons now worked on healing technologies. Children who had been raised on stories of glorious conquest now learned about cooperation and mutual understanding. The Memory Keeper remained in orbit around the Vorthok homeworld, no longer a weapon of war, but a teacher, gradually sharing the preserved experiences of human life with any who wished to learn. Captain Elena Vasquez stood in her quarters, looking out at the alien world below. She could see the construction of New Geneva Memorial Park, a vast garden where Vorthok families brought their children to learn about the value of every individual life. Her communications officer's voice came over the intercom. "Captain, we're receiving a priority transmission from Earth Command." "Put it through." Admiral Mitchell appeared on screen. "Alina, we've received a request from the Andromedan Commonwealth. They want to know if the Memory Keeper is available for a diplomatic mission. Seems some of their member worlds have heard about what happened here and are interested in the technology for conflict resolution." Alina smiled. The Memory Keeper had been built as a weapon of last resort, a way to show enemies the true cost of their actions, but it had become something more. A teacher, a bridge between species, a way to share the most fundamental human truth, that every life has meaning and every action has consequences. "Set course for Andromedan space," she ordered. "It's time to spread the lesson." As the Memory Keeper departed Vorthok territory, Emperor Korthax stood in his palace, surrounded by artwork created by human artists who had died in the colony attacks. He could remember each of them now, their hopes and dreams as vivid as his own memories. "Thank you," he whispered to the departing ship, "for showing us what we truly were, and what we could become." The transformation of the Vorthok Empire became a turning point in galactic history. The species that had once been feared as ruthless conquerors became known as the galaxy's most passionate defenders of life and peace. They carried their burden of human memories not as a curse, but as a gift that reminded them daily of the preciousness of every sentient being. And somewhere in the void between stars, the Memory Keeper continued its mission, carrying the preserved experiences of humanity to any species willing to learn the hardest lesson of all, that understanding the weight of consequences is the first step toward wisdom.